when I was commissioned to make the JFK film for Channel 4, back in the late 80s, I got commissioned. I went to the States because just after my divorce, I was feeling a bit bruised, and I thought I'd go and start a new life in America and become a writer. And I left school at 15, so I've got no qualifications and nothing. So I went to America to write about the Kennedy assassination because I thought it was a fascinating subject, and a subject about which I knew a bit, or I thought I knew a bit. Anyway, I looked into it, and every witness that I knocked on doors, which is madness when I think about it now. I knocked on doors in Dallas. I found the list of the people that had witnessed the assassination, and I knocked on the doors of a few people, and a lot of them were horrified and slammed the door in my face. And and then I discovered afterwards that most of them had been seriously intimidated by FBI, CIA, and the Dallas Constabulary or Dallas Police Force about making their statements known, because it completely contradicted the Warren Commission findings, which I'd got and I'd always believed was the secret of the Kennedy assassination, because the press had named it the most diligent investigation in history. There were 26 volumes, you can imagine, but it was designed to deceive. The first volume was dedicated to Oswald's mother's dental records. It was purely designed to, but the staggering thing was there was no index. So you couldn't find, the events in Dealey Plaza were in volume 12. But unless you had an index, you'd have to steam through another 11 huge, great, thick volumes to find out where that was. So there was it was deliberately made to deceive. And there was a wonderful woman that indexed the whole thing, who I met, who's long since dead, but she took a year off work and indexed the whole thing because she didn't believe it either. So that's how it started. And I found this piece of film. This guy had done this interview with the pallbearer in Dallas and the autopsy assistant in Washington. And they were describing two different bodies. And that interview had been done purely by somebody personally who just wasn't satisfied with it. And he tracked down these autopsy people and did this interview. And when I was he was living in Los Angeles, and I met him in a bagel bar behind the university there. And so once he'd realised that I was kosher, took me off to this lovely little house, and I viewed this piece of film, and I just thought, this is going to change the world. So I sent a copy of it to Channel 4, and they commissioned me instantly to make a film. So, and this is the first thing anything like this had been done about the Kennedy assassination. I was brought up believing the Warren Commission, this is what happened. Lee Harvey Oswald, the lone nutter, did it. So never questioned it. So when I discovered this, I then discovered all this other stuff. There's a whole community of people that are objectors to the Warren Commission, and I interviewed all those and spoke to all them. Anyway, it was a film, and I hired these guys, Godley and Cream, to make the film for me, to direct it, and I presented it. And anyway, when I'd finished, or halfway through, I got a call from Geraldo Rivera. That was an American presenter, who asked me if I'd come over and talk to him about it, because everybody in the media was very interested in this assassination because nothing had been done about it, and no one was terribly happy about the Warren Commission, but nobody dared contradict it, rather like same 9/11, same theory there. So I went over to meet this guy, Geraldo Rivera, and he wanted to do a live program about it, and it wasn't quite right. Unfortunately, I said, no, look, I'm not in a position to do this. He wanted to do it, a lot of money that we were talking about, but I thought I'd rather maintain my integrity, and because I was in this for the long term, I wanted to make sure it was done properly. I then suddenly, which I thought was quite fascinating, was fated by Hollywood, if you like, and I was invited to meet a couple of people, and one person, I won't tell you who it is, but a very famous actor who we got wrecked together, and that's why I won't tell you his name. But and I met lots of very important people who all wanted to be involved. Martin Sheen, for instance, I met him in his Winnebago. He was shooting, and he asked to see me, and and we spent about 3 or 4 hours talking about the Kennedy assassination, which he wanted to do, and his wife in the end turned around. He'd not long had a heart attack, and his wife didn't want to get involved in it because she'd heard all the rumours about mysterious deaths and things like that. But it was a fascinating thing. And then Oliver Stone bought my research and said some very nice things about it. And he was interviewed on Italian television, Rai Due, and he called my programme his inspiration for the JFK film, which I thought was a lovely thing. But it's the story itself is really fascinating. And it was the naivety of my naivety, leaving school at 15, thinking the whole world is as nice and sweet as my mum had taught me that it was, and growing up in rural Essex as a kid. And the world suddenly changed when I realised that the world is full of naughty people, nasty people. So we'd like to make a programme about my discovery process. The film itself's out there. It's called The Day the Dream Died. And that's on. You can get that on our catalogue. That's available from our website. But the discovery process is a fascinating subject. How bumbling around I managed to discover all this stuff. Totally. I mean, I had no idea because I wanted just to write a straightforward book about what happened, not get involved in the controversial aspect of it. But that particular assassination and those experiences opened me up for all the other stuff that I've done. And the one that followed that programme was the Robert Kennedy assassination, which I did for Channel 4 as well. And now that is a fascinating assassination. But again, it's available on our website if anyone wants it, which is a very interesting subject. But the discovery process is what I thought we ought to make an interesting programme, and it would, particularly for anybody who's interested in this thing. And it wasn't, the nice thing about it is it wasn't deliberate. 90% of it was accidental. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And I think that's a story in life, really. And just luck is such an important element in life.